Husidio John Tempest, in tonight's profile, is the latest in a lineage of artists. He was born at Duke Hospital in 1953 and raised in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, before moving with his family to Newton, Massachusetts in 1966. In 1971, John began painting while spending the summer months with his family in Venice, Italy. He returned to Chapel Hill to finish his undergraduate degree in art history in 1975. It wasn't until 1980 that his career interest in painting truly began. His ancestor, Antonio Tempest, at the forefront of this artistic family lineage, was regarded by Caravaggio as one of the 6 greatest living artists in Rome and Florence in the 1600s. Antonio influenced many artists, including Rembrandt and Rubens for his horses, down the line to Giorgio de Chirico, unquestionably the greatest and most influential Italian artist of the 20th century, and known as the father of surrealism and metaphysical painting. Gerard Francis Tempest, Husidio John's father, followed in this influential artistic lineage from Antonio Tempesta and also became de Chirico's protege in 1947. Gerard Tempest, an accomplished abstract artist of international recognition, is known for his style of abstract spiritualism. Husidio John Tempest began his professional career in 1980 in a studio his father kept in downtown Rome near the Pantheon for 13 years. John painted his first oil self-portrait in 1980 in that very studio, which overlooks central Rome. Simultaneously, where Gerard Tempest had become a lifelong friend of Giorgio de Chirico and his wife Isabella, he, with John and family, spent many evenings and months at the de Chirico's residence in central Rome at Piazza di Spagna. Continuing this close association, Husidio John was commissioned to paint the portrait of their first lady in charge, Vincenzina Petrangeli, in 1991, which he finished in the studio of Giorgio de Chirico. This portrait will now hang in a newly constructed Giorgio de Chirico museum in Italy. A tremendous honor to be placed in conjunction with such a great master. After completing many portrait commissions under the tutelage of his father, young Tempest studied briefly under 2 portrait greats, John Howard Sandon and Nelson Shanks, in the late 1980s, at the Art Students League in New York City while living in Manhattan. When John Tempest was commissioned by Isabella de Chirico to paint Santa Filippa Marere, he became even more closely associated with the de Chiricos. In Tempest's career, he has painted portraits of Carol Hill of the original CCB family, heiress of the 7-Up Company, Patty Downey Johnson, Betty and Frank Keenan. The portraits of Husidio John Tempest have gained him recognition throughout the United States, Canada, and Italy as a truly accomplished artist.
Well, it began many years ago, of course, when I was a young boy, spending many of my summers in Italy, where he was born, in a small town called San Donato, which is southeast of Rome, and I would watch him paint day in and day out, and we would travel to many museums, and I've actually spent probably half of my life in Italy, making me an artist that I am today, having painted now for 20 years. My father, it's very interesting how his art, abstract spiritualism, deals with a more intangible source of recognizing art and looking into the subjects also. He's been very influential over the years in explaining that type of aspect concerning art. And that's made a big difference in my approach, where I like to look into a subject rather than at a subject, which is why I find portraiture so interesting at this point in my career.